Activision Blizzard person Bobby Kotick today sent the following letter to all employees. Today, a few weeks ago, I reiterated our commitment to become the most welcoming, inclusive company for our industry. Today, I want to update you on some initial progress and important additional steps we are taking to advance our commitment with greater impact, transparency, and urgency. First, I want to offer my sincere gratitude for your continued focus and dedication to our players and to each other. You've shown incredible resilience throughout the pandemic, exceptional care for colleagues and communities, and the relentless commitment to excellence, creative independence, and purpose that, and purpose that always sets our company and our franchises apart. During a tremendously challenging time for so many people, you've continued to bring joy and connection to our players and communities around the world. This is the butter, right? It's the butter that's kind of meant to waste my lip flapping and all that. My goal and the goal of our board, Capital Board, our entire senior corporate team, our business unit leaders and their teams, is to make sure that you have the resources, culture, and commitment from leadership you need to succeed in our collective aspiration to be the model workplace in our industry, the greediest of them all, right? Over the last decade, as we brought in new companies, grown our workforce, and expanded our business, we believed we had the systems, policies, and people in place to ensure that our company always lived up to its reputation as a great place to work. Clearly, in some vitally important aspects, we didn't. That is considered very aggressive speak in corporate leadership. Leadership, that's not a word. Hi, Betty. The guardrails weren't in place everywhere to ensure that our values were being upheld. In some cases, people didn't consistently feel comfortable reporting concerns, or their concerns weren't always addressed promptly or properly. People were deeply let down, and for that, I am truly sorry. Ooh, it's one of those kind of forbidden words. Brave. Being welcoming and inclusive in the context of our workplace is crystal clear. We will still passionately debate ideas, employ healthy skepticism when appropriate, and demand excellence and rigor in all of our pursuits. But we will always treat each other with dignity and respect. And regardless of our differences, voices will be heard, perspectives welcomed, and contributions valued. Just keep making me that money. Wapa! We are a business fueled by passion and performance. These are cornerstones of our creative excellence, but we must continually recognize, embrace, and celebrate that the very best ideas, the most rigorous execution of those ideas, and ultimately our responsibility to our players and each other are best served by a culture that recognizes and respects that true excellence comes from diverse views, voices, and talents. Holla. You know, reading all this so far, this is the bread, right? This is the bread. Give me the meat. Give me the meat. It's not even sauce soaked bread that it's like, oh, you know, that bread in that sandwich, it's so good because it has all that sauce in it. This has been a waste so far. Nice lip service. Whoop-de-doo. We've made progress over the last few years, fostering that diversity and creating a better work environment, a commitment that has improved in scope and speed in recent months. We've tripled our investment in anti-harassment and anti-discrimination training. We've made meaningful organizational changes, and we've substantially increased resources for reporting and carefully investigating improper behavior. The EEOC's investigative process, public discussion on discrimination and harassment, and your reports and suggestions help shine a light on practices we need to improve, policies that need to be strengthened, and resources we are now adding. The EEOC's review was a catalyst to sharpen our focus on the ways that we can become a company others emulate as a model for workplace excellence and one with an unwavering commitment to its values, like making me that fat fucking money. Big bold, we have a lot more to do if we are to be the company that others emulate. I want to share 5 new changes we are implementing, but recognize being a model for workplace excellence will be a dynamic process requiring additional changes and an unrelenting commitment to improvement. You know, what I love about this is that most people reacting to this are going to be are this is invisible. Thank you for the Prime sub, by the way. This is invisible to most people. Actually, just about all of this is invisible to people. The lip service is whatever, but this especially, because whatever I'm about to read, Kotick is saying this is just the start. This is not enough. We're going to have to keep doing things, improving on things, and blah, 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 blah. But I'm sure the initial foot-in-the-mouth reaction from some folks out there is going to be like, oh, so he just wrote a letter, and now it's just all gone, huh? No. But, oh well. Let's begin the reading. So, bullet point number 1. Long-ass bullet point, dude. Big bold. We are launching a new zero-tolerance harassment policy company-wide. In the past, when we discovered and substantiated harassment, we terminated some employees and provided verbal or written warnings or different disciplinary actions to others. It's like when Alex Cosby did it. What's his name? Morheim is like, all right, here's your disciplinary action. Bad, Alex. Bad. Alex is like, oh. Go to your room. Anyway. In retrospect, to achieve our goals and workplace excellence, this approach is no longer adequate. We need tougher rules and consistent monitoring across the entire company to make sure reports are being handled correctly and discipline is appropriate and swift. As a result, we are implementing a zero-tolerance policy across Activision Blizzard that will be applied consistently. Our goal is to have the strictest harassment and non-retaliation policies of any employer, and we will continue to examine and tighten our standards to achieve this goal everywhere we do business. That kind of opens up a lot, because just the process of moving towards that opens them up for all sorts of, not liability, but just a lot of scrutiny. Because here's the letter, what's going to happen tomorrow? Or what's going to happen with ongoing investigations and things like that. And so that's good luck, buddy. Any Activision Blizzard employee found through our new investigator processes and resources to have retaliated against anyone for making a compliance complaint will be terminated immediately. Wow. Now I wonder if this, again, does this apply to like new investigations or ongoing ones, or ones that are going on right now? Because then it feels like Activision Blizzard's going to look like Swiss cheese with all the holes they need to punch in. And that's not to say that when I mean Swiss cheese, I'm trying to illustrate that as crudely as possible. I'm pretty sure like the little holes and the holes in the bumps, they're like much smaller than how it normally looks. But I hope you get what I'm saying there. In many other instances of workplace misconduct, we will no longer rely on written warnings. Termination will be the outcome, including in most cases of harassment based on any legally protected category. What about everyone else, though? What about people just being dicks? What about that? But I guess the legally protected stuff, it's especially strict, as I recall in my corporate experience. When you're a legally protected class, you get fucked if something goes on. Here we go. Future employment contracts and equity rewards will be clear. Termination for these reasons will result in the immediate forfeiture of future compensation. What do you do? We also want to ensure that employees who file reports are encouraged, protected, and heard. For bold, all reports of harassment and retaliation. We will investigate the allegation and whether the Activision Blizzard personnel who received the report of such behavior took the appropriate steps to protect the integrity of our compliance processes. This one feels big. I'm no legal guy. I'm not an expert on this shit at all. But the thing about all reports, this one feels big. We will investigate and whether the personnel who received the initial report of such behavior took the appropriate steps to protect the integrity. Because Any Activision employee found through our new investigative processes and resources to have retaliated against anyone will be terminated. Yeah, so they're not kidding. There may be some places around the world. Oh, this is one I was waiting for. There may be some places around the world where local law may restrict some of these measures. In those cases, we will apply the highest permissible standards and the strongest possible discipline. So, a lot of the United States is at will employment, so you can fire someone for like whatever the fuck you want, as long as it's not for any reason of that would discriminate against a protected class. Hence that other bullet point that he brought up. But it's not that way in all countries. Not in all countries can you say, hey, we've heard about you harassing someone, you're fired. That kind of stuff doesn't happen everywhere. But they can do other things. As to what, I don't fucking know. It's anyway. Oh wow, this was the longest bullet point of them all. Okay, which means the rest are less important. No, hopefully not. We will increase the percentage of women and non-binary people in our workforce by 50%. Whoa. And we will invest $250 million to accelerate opportunities for diverse talent. That's okay. Actually, let me just read the rest. Today, approximately 23% of our global employee population identifies as women or non-binary. Our global employee okay, so within the company, 23% of the people in ABK are women or non-binary. Building on the success that King and other business units have achieved, we will seek to increase our percentage of women and non-binary professionals by approximately 50% to more than 1/3 across the entire company within the next 5 years, and hopefully faster. Each franchise team, business unit, and functional area will be expected to have plans to help fulfill this ambition. With respect to diversity, while we perform better than our peers with 30% of our U.S. workforce from diverse or underrepresented communities, broadening this progress will continue to be a significant focus of mine, as well as company, business units, and franchise leadership. So, okay, the challenge that I see here, increasing, not women and whatnot by 50%, what this not threatens, but what this can create is a sort of shortage of women in total within this particular industry. So I wonder how competitive Activision Blizzard is going to be with trying to forward this sort of initiative. I talked a little bit earlier about my thoughts on kind of like foreseen diversity. When it comes to race and gender as well, or whether it's actual gender preference. I mean, I guess there's no difference, right? I should be better than that. But yeah, I do wonder, like, because across the board there are fewer minorities, fewer women in that workforce. How competitive does the company need to be? So. Keep reading, lol. Thanks. Spoiler alert. To further this commitment, we will be investing an additional $250 million over the next 10 years. This is bold, by the way, in initiatives that foster expanded opportunities in gaming and technology for underrepresented communities. Okay, fine. This commitment includes inspiring diverse talent to pursue career opportunities in gaming through an ABK Academy that includes partnerships with colleges and technical schools serving underrepresented communities, mentorships for participants, and a rotating apprenticeship program that leads to game development jobs similar to the programs we began with the United Negro College Fund and Management Leadership for Tomorrow. This is pretty cool. We will also provide learning, development, and advanced degree opportunities for current employees to increase the number of women and those from underrepresented communities in leadership positions across the company and in our industry. And the last little bullet point, in the coming months, Brian Bulletow, Julie Hodges, and I will share details about how we are operationalizing these goals and implementing and measuring this expanded investment. So patch notes are coming sometime soon. So I was just talking about how something the workplace, the workforce of minorities and women is small. And there is a healthy conversation and debate about whether we should be getting talent, focus on just getting the top tier talent, or going for forcing diversity and other such things. The problem with that sort of argument is that the top tier, when people who say, hey, we should just get the most talented people, that is, I don't think they mean poorly by that at all, by the way. But what that indirectly means is that the most privileged people that had the opportunity to become the most talented are going to get those jobs. And people who otherwise had that sort of potential, but just didn't get those opportunities, as in women, minorities, and other such folk, they can't, it's harder for them to get into that pool of the talent. And so, so that's what's kind of trying to be done here, is to try to improve that available workforce. And then hopefully that investment will lead to people getting that sort of top talent, regardless of their background and other such things. So having that investment into the education side of it is, yeah, cool. I haven't had my coffee yet. Sorry, guys. This is a long ass letter. Holy shit. How much more? Oh my god. We're still going. Okay. Thanks for being patient so far. Okay. Big bold. Based on feedback from employees, we are waiving required arbitration. Wow. I'm like excited. We are waiving required arbitration of sexual harassment and discrimination claims for any Activision Blizzard employee who chooses not to arbitrate an individual claim of sexual harassment, unlawful discrimination, and or related retaliation arising in the future. The company will waive any obligation to do so. Well, actually, let me. Arbitration of sexual harassment and discrimination claims, but not arbitration of fucking everything. So arbitration is still going to exist. It's still kind of a thing, but it looks like they're just targeting certain things, which is still important. It's still a step in the right direction, but it's not just the full annulment of using that sort of process. And to be honest, the arbitration does suck. It definitely skews towards the employer, but not arbitration is also very expensive on everybody's part. Now, in the case of this here, though, sexual harassment, discrimination claims, there are numerous resources out there where if someone wanted to sue, if someone had a big problem, they can rely on different groups to help assist them against against Blizzard corporate, and then Blizzard corporate will just have to we'll just have to deal with spending that money. Ideally, though, nothing should need to go to arbitration because problems ought to be solved beforehand. I recall. I should look this up. I don't want to look this up. I heard something about in California, at least, that arbitration is across the board is being kind of struck down. I don't know the details of that, but I have the feeling that this third bullet point, it may not be as strong as we'd like it to be because it's going away anyway. However, the fact that they're saying this means that Blizzard is going to do less to fight whatever that California judgment was, and they're just going to just kind of fold over and be like, we're not even going to try and do it, whatever. As for everything else, as for arbitration of anything else, I'm not sure. So, next one. This one's big. I'm sure that this is like one of the biggest takeaways because this is one of the demands. Well, actually, this was also bullet point 2 was also one of the demands. We will continue to increase visibility on pay equity. Okay, I think they're addressing all the demands. As described in the super bold recent note from our president Daniel Allegre and our chief administration officer Brian Bulatow, the company continues to focus on pay equity for employees. In fact, our U.S. analysis showed that women at the company, on average, earned slightly more than men for comparable work in 2020. Oh god! To ensure transparency on our continuing commitment to pay equity, we'll report these results annually. Okay, that's weak. In fact, as a matter of fact, actually, our U.S. analysis showed that women at the company, on average, earned slightly more than men for compare. You know what this tells me? It tells me that, okay, they're still being, at Activision Blizzard, they're being paid slightly more than men for it's still shit. So, I don't know. I think it's still not as competitive as we'd like. Oh well. Bullet point 5, we will provide regular progress updates. We will be monitoring the progress of our business units, franchise teams, and functional leaders with respect to workplace initiatives, and we will provide a status report quarterly. We'll also be adding a dedicated focus on this vital work in our annual report to shareholders and in our annual ESG reports with information on gender hiring, diversity hiring, and workplace progress. Okay, let me pull something up. Hold up, wait a minute. Okay, so can I find this? Oh, I found this image so quickly. So here are the demands. Here are the 4 demands from the ABK group, which is a little hard to see. Okay, so 1, end mandatory arbitration. It's not across the board. It's just with discrimination and harassment. So okay, half point for that one. Improve representation. That's something that can't be just done overnight, but they're clearly putting in initiatives to address bullet point 2, so I'll give them a solid 1 for that. Pay transparency. That seems to be a thing. Let me reread this one because this is like a short one. We will continue to increase visibility to ensure transparency on our continued commitment to pay equity. We will report these results. So I guess they're just making sure that whatever pay they offer is equitable across the industry as a standard. The visibility is cool. The visibility is cool because it shows what they're doing. But at the same time, especially in California, if we made like $70,000-$80,000 a year, that ain't shit, unfortunately. It's not entirely Activision Blizzard's fault that it ain't shit. Because $70,000-$80,000 a year can mean a lot elsewhere. So pay transparency. Okay, fine. They get a point for that. And then a task force for a third-party audit. I don't think this is ever going to happen. Having someone on the outside that's always going to be checking stuff. I think they already had. I think they mentioned something like that, but I don't think that's. I don't think it's as big of a deal as we may think. Let me read chat. I think I missed something. Morning, Justin. It's a cool idea. I remember Eidos did that with my school back in the day. Oh, you're talking about like the edumacating and stuff. I don't know if you responded to my message yet. Your message yet? Oh, yeah, I didn't hear from you on Monday. Just so glad to hear you say that. I just said a lot of things, so I'm not sure. It's not implemented yet. It's still being litigated, I guess. Oh, I think you're talking about arbitration, right? Okay. Jazon's like, he's on a rant. He'll be a minute. Because once he starts going, once you pop, you can't stop. It's classic soul. Classic soul. He's not talking about the industry standard of compensation, but how pay within their company is distributed for roles. Oh, so that's even worse. Hold up. Our analysis showed that women at the company, on average, earned slightly more than men for comparable work in 2020. But It's like, yeah, guys, they're being paid evenly, evenly. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah, let's compare it to like other folks within the industry. Now, pay equity is very it's very wonky, right? I talked about this a little while back, where I was talking about how Amazon Game Studios is paying a shitload more money than most other places because they don't really have anything under their belt. They didn't have released games of note. New World is something to note. As for the long term of it, that still remains to be seen. But in trying to get talent, of course, they're going to pay more. However, you don't want to compare, the startup that's part of $1 trillion company, or the segment within a $1 trillion company compared to either like a brand new startup in someone's garage or even like a long-standing company. The small indie folks, of course, they're not going to pay $150,000 a year to an engineer or something like that. They can't afford that. They didn't get the capital for something like that. The company with a reputation probably doesn't need to offer $150,000 in compensation, because hopefully they would have the reputation and the library of games or portfolio or whatever to be like, okay, cool, it'll look good on my resume to do that. This is something that I can settle for. It's not the worst pay, but whatever. But a new studio that just happens to have a lot of money, how do you compare? How do you compete? Right? It's not just about the money. But the transparency puts us in the right direction to give employees the leverage to be like, well, you know what, I get it, but they're going to offer me this much. I'm going to walk. What you gonna do about it, bitch? So, that sort of thing. It's not great, but it's good as a woman. It's a positive step. Unfortunately, that's the unfortunate thing. We, especially as gamers, we would love to be instantly fulfilled, right? Hey, Soul, we're going to hire you and we're going to give you a $300,000 signing bonus because recompense or something, because you're a minority. And that's how important it'll be. Oh, fuck yeah, let's go. Let's fucking go. That's not how it works. It's incremental, it's slow. It's what is hopefully like a culture change in that's going in the right direction. So a lot of folks will be like, okay, it's a good step in the right direction, but it's not enough. Of course it's not enough, because it's not immediate. That's not how this stuff works, unfortunately. I mean, what was some of the stuff earlier? The zero tolerance harassment, that seems, foot in the mouth. I ask myself, how harsh is this? Is it too harsh? Probably not, because doing shit like this is like super awful anyway, and it's like asking someone in the interview process. So, Soul, are you up for harassing women? Do you feel that black people are beneath you and that something, and I'll be like, what the fuck kind of question is that? I don't even know what I'm saying on that. But the approach here, zero tolerance. I'm curious how the new zero tolerance policy is going to translate into waiving arbitration, because I'm sure that there are going to be some folks that will say, hey, I didn't do anything bad. No way. I'm going to try to come back at this, and so on and so forth. So that ideally, in an ideal world, this will just work out great, and everything will be like much better. But there's going to be wrinkles in everything that's going on. Is that the equivalent of, but my friend's black, so of course and I say that sort of stuff to him all the time, and all he does is give me weird looks, but he doesn't get mad. I think this is all great if they actually follow through with it. Zero tolerance sounds pretty, but it's a lot harder to implement than it seems. It's kind of like a, if they're going through with zero tolerance, then that means that their investigative process needs to be like on top, right? Aim carefully, one shot, one kill, measure twice, cut once, whatever the hell helps you out, whatever helps to explain that. But they need to be really careful about that because, not to say that there are awful people inside Blizzard, but that could be, something like this could possibly be used against someone in a form of retaliation, and it's a matter of they get caught or not. But I want to step back from that too and tell myself that for the most part there are good people in there, that even those who did have bad behavior, who were fired and whatnot, that fundamentally, like, they didn't mean to like do it or whatever it is that they did, but they were just grown into that, or that culture of tolerating harassment, they just kind of lived it and dealt with it. I'm sure that on some of those people's minds, as they were packing up all their shit and being booted out the ass out the door, they were like, what the fuck, man? People treated me like shit all the time, and I just left it off. What's the big deal? I'm pretty sure that's a lot, that's probably what's on a lot of those folks' minds. Unless they were like straight up like touching and grabbing and that sort of shit, then that's pretty awful. But this is me pretending hypotheticals and reacting to them, so that has like no value anyway. It's a tough one, says Cammy. I remember a guy I used to work with was convinced I was in love with him because I'm friendly. People read so many things differently. Dude started flirting hard, and it was weird until I explained that I didn't like him. Someone else in my shoes may see that as harassment. Yeah, which is weird, right? It's, it sucks because in the hyperbolic conversation that is corporate compliance, no laughing allowed. You are not allowed to laugh or look at each other or smile or anything like that. You can't. I'm trying to think of what some folks will say. I'm not even allowed to compliment a woman on her appearance or say that she looks nice today. She might be offended, and so I feel repressed as a man. I feel like that's a pretty extreme. It's one of those extreme hyperbolic scenarios that folks tend to use when trying to fight against these sorts of things. There's too many rules. I was raised, within my family, and we talk shit on each other all the time. But that's what the process is for, and hopefully this process works out well enough to take care of, to tell the difference between what is actual harassment and what is corrective behavior, for the most part. And I said this. I've said this a number of times. I love good redemption stories. I believe that people can learn lessons. I believe that people can make mistakes, and so that's why this term tends to resonate me in a sometimes negative way, because I think of schools and playgrounds where there's like a zero tolerance for whatever, where people can get kicked out of school or be subject to disciplinary action for things that are decided not by some investigation, but the teacher just saw a weird thing that happened, they drew some conclusion, and now that's fact. Whatever they said was fact. This is different though. This is like some corporate shit with legal stuff behind it, and so I'm hoping that with the additional investments and things that they made, that this will turn out to be like something real. Realsy real. Not a mean? Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, but to lose your job for initially flirting with someone, that you think likes you, that is harsh, and he stopped. So meh. And that's good, right? Setting boundaries. It sucks because you're asking, because it's asking someone like you to be like, don't be too nice. Don't be too, don't give off the air of advancing. And to an extreme, it's like, that skirt is like 2 inches above the knees. I think you're trying to provoke men into like tempting you. Be like, bitch, no, I'm not. Fuck you. But again, that's like some of those extreme scenarios that it's like, no, that's not how it's like in the real world. Stop talking about that shit. So harassment is in the eyes of the harassed. If you felt harassed, it was harassment. That's again, hyperbolic, but that's what makes it scary too, because you can't be sure that someone will take anything that you say or do, take it, turn that against you somehow. And I hear stories, or I've heard stories from like, from way back, and where someone would be like, oh, I was taken to the back and I was just fired because, and no one told me why. They said that I harassed someone. They won't tell me who it was that I harassed. I haven't even, this is my first time back in the office after like 2 weeks. I have no idea what's going on. This is fucked up. So that's what makes zero tolerance feel scary. But what's been going on over at, again, hypotheticals, going back to what's going on at Activision Blizzard, fuck it, let's try it. Let's see how that works. And then of course it's going to be on Activision Blizzard to do this responsibly, because things like this can ruin people's careers, and hopefully it did ruin a couple of careers for the people who deserved it. I just hope that this is done responsibly and that it's done to like the right people for the right reasons. Yada 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 yada. It has to be substantiated harassment for their zero tolerance process. Yeah, it's zero tolerance, not zero investigation. I think that's the really quick takeaway that I'm trying to say. Also, men need to be better at flirting in the business place. Like, don't. Lol. Yeah, that's like when I was young, right? When I was young, I ran a shop and hired someone. Ended up dating her. Ever since then, though, and things were like normal. Nothing weird happened from that. We dated, we broke up, that was it. After that, though, the thought that came to my head was, man, dating a coworker is pain in the fucking ass, man. it sucks. Advancing on someone who's in the workplace, nah, it's just not worth it. Sometimes I get it, because it's like, oh, they're in proximity. This is one of the few bits of human contact that I have with other people, because dating is a pain in the ass. The online thing is stupid and yada yada yada. But man, look at her, Julie. Oh, I don't know anyone named Julie, by the way. Oh, Julie, man, so beautiful, so nice to me. I'm gonna ask her out. No, don't do it. Don't do it, man. Because then that fucks with the dynamic. It makes things awkward. Or it potentially makes things awkward. For one coworker to ask someone out, when it's not obviously like, hey, let's do a big group thing, guys. I think that's cool. Unless you're that one guy that it's like, ooh, I'm gonna hook up with Julie. I'm gonna disguise it as a work function, and then I'm gonna get her fucked up. Yeah, that's. See where we're going with that, man. Imaginations are running wild. Don't do it. Stick to stick to Pornhub and hentai and I don't know what else do people do. Stick to parasocial relationships on Twitch. Oh my god, it's my favorite. Topless streamer person. Take the money. Maybe I can get together for a meetup. Oh goodness. Let's keep going. Let's see. Betty says that some people are not confrontational. They may feel harassed and not comfortable having the conversation with the guy. That's where HR is supposed to support the employees. This whole mess is an HR failure at the end of the day. The bigger questions is if the upper leadership was aware of these failures or actively promoted a hostile work environment. I think the short answer is yes. And it wasn't intentional. It's not like, Alex Cosby and all them were like getting together. They're like, hey guys, let's make a hostile work environment. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. I don't think it was exactly like that. It was more like, I am drunk with power and I will exercise this power because I got the power. Yeah. And I think that's kind of how, it started. I think, in terms of, did they actively promote it? Not directly, but indirectly, absolutely. But definitely an HR failure too. People were like, oh man, I don't want to go through this trouble. I don't want to get in trouble for this. I don't want to get in trouble for that. So I think what they were doing is, I think what they're doing over at Blizzard, they're increasing the size of their investigative department and separating it from the other business segments to make them kind of independently run. So perhaps they will be drunk with the power. Hopefully not. But having that sort of oversight that can act independently, that doesn't impact the other segments, budgets and all that stuff, I think will help. I don't know if it's the best solution, but I think it'll help. So it's not hard to save your flirting until after work hours lull. That's a dangerous one, dude, because at least what was happening at Activision Blizzard, a lot of that was happening outside in workplace functions, but it wasn't exactly during work hours. So it's tough. It is extremely tough. My stance on it, just don't. Their coworkers, consider them off limits, period. If you leave the company, okay, then I'd say that I would say that's different. But it's hard to have a mature conversation about that. Because I'm not good at dating. here's what I learned. In my youth, I would just go up to a girl and I would tell her straight up, hey, you know what? I'm interested in you. I think we might have some sort of vibe and I want to ask you out for a while. What do you say? And I can't say that, I can't exactly say that I learned everything from that, because that's worked every time. Because we'd end up going out. And so I at least want to tell myself, okay, if I was rejected or whatnot, then I'm like, all right, cool. And hope that things wouldn't get awkward. I would just try to have a mature conversation with someone. Hey, you know what? This is how I feel. This is what I like to do. But hey, you know what? If it's a problem, or if you're not interested, I'm cool with that. And yeah, I think that's as far as it needs to go. It doesn't have to be like, hey, baby, I see that your skirt is 2 inches above the knees. I think you're trying to talk to me. No, dude, that's not. Don't do that. Correct, but a good HR department is supposed to be advocates for the employees. That's how I run mine, at least. Yeah. I think we talked about that a while back, Betty, where I think I was saying that HR looks out for the company, but in turn, that also means looking out for the employees, because happy employees means fewer problems for the company, right? Duh. So not everyone is kind of a big picture big picture thinker like that. Sadly, but that's corporate life. That's why I don't trust corporations. They're all about the bottom line and pleasing investors, and most don't care about their human capital. It's tough because the gaming industry demands that sort of organizational structure. It demands scope at this crazy level. It's like I paid my $59.95 and I expect flawless excellence. No patches needed. Everything's balanced. Everything works. It's so easy. Gosh, a monkey can balance this. But then, of course, on the back, behind that game are like hundreds, thousands of people working different segments, from arts and animation to sound to engineering and production. You have producers that are managing all these things and getting all this shit together so you and your $60 can feel worth it. The gaming industry just kind of ballooned into that sort of industry that commands like so much, but it's also really cool that at the indie level, you can appease people's gaming needs with very simple and fun gameplay loops. Like, that's all you need, and that's amazing too, because the enjoyment of games comes from all sorts, from all walks of life. Whether you pour millions into a project, or if it's just like a couple of dudes in a garage and they spent the past 6 months working on this as a hobby, and all of a sudden they become like really big. Those things are cool. Have I missed everything? You missed a lot. You missed a lot. I think I'm gonna take most of this and put this onto YouTube tomorrow. I think we've had some fairly good conversations about this. Well, I don't know. Menard says, I don't know or understand all the legal stuff or really anything, but it sounds good on paper. Yeah, like this is it's a letter that went out to employees. It's there for us to see and to react to it and share how we feel about it. Oh, this is great. Oh, it's not enough. Oh, it's a step in the right direction, and yada yada yada. Or, let's read between the lines and find all the insidious things that they're going to do because of this. My wife and I have worked at the same places several times. We had to learn to keep it professional. Well, I'm mostly talking about, people who meet each other and the courting process within the workplace. Guys can be so cute though at work. Are you a man-eater? Do you just devour men? No, I'm just kidding. When things go wrong, you still have to work together the next years. Just don't mess up the experience. Like they say, you don't shit where you eat. Keep it in your pants. At work, it's not a bar. Yeah, it's just keep them off limits. That's it. I get it though. I do get it because sometimes people just can't control their emotions or their impulses, which is bad. And sometimes they don't know. I guess it's more fair to say some people don't know how to handle their impulses and emotions. They see a pretty girl at work. Oh, she's hella hot. Oh my God. Oh my God. Don't do it. Don't do it. Off limits. Consider them family. You don't date family, right? Ew. If anything, if you really want to pursue her, quit. Immediately. Fuck this shit. Bam. Throw down your dish rack. I quit. Julie. You want to go out? No? Fuck. Fuck. What did I do? I listened to Soul. Fucked up, man. Let's see. Stop flirting with me. I'm way too old for you and I'm married. Well, I'm probably, you know what? I am old and married. Lol. Stick to... Oh, God, you clipped it. You monster, Onk. Let's see. And I'm much older. Whatever. I just look like a baby. You with Blizz might stop being abusive to their community to a degree as well. Different conversation, though. Look at Soul respecting women. You know your one-liners. That was a lot of opium, copium, hopium. Hopium. You don't date family unless you live in the deep south. Oh, God. I remember my ex stalked me for 10 years, and even after going to the police for harassment, they would not do anything about it. The world definitely ain't perfect, man. Sometimes the world is pretty shit. And sometimes it feels like it feels like no one's looking out for you. Sometimes you don't feel special. The reality is that the world is really big and everyone is, to a certain extent, looking out for themselves. And so, yeah, it does feel like we can be isolated sometimes. But having these sorts of like policies in place helps. I'm not going to be pissed off because, oh, these people are helping me out, but it's only because it's their job. They don't really care about me. I'm not going to count on everyone being goody-goody, because I know I'm not 100% goody-goody. But these help, and it's encouraging. Again, calling out my name. Oh, fuck me. Is your name actually Julie? Please tell me I'm... Because then there goes my worldview. I know someone named Julie now. Shit. I have to rethink that entire scenario. So anyway, we can finally move on to something else. I want to move on to what I originally... Yes, god damn it. I originally wanted to finally watch that video that we were watching yesterday, and I stopped like 3 minutes in because I thought I was better than them, and I'm not. So we are going to watch this. You know, I'll start from the beginning, because in case anyone had missed this and did not watch this, we'll start from the beginning. We'll watch it together. So this is see, what's funny is that in about an hour and a half, unless I fucked up and I did it already, I'm going to release my own video where I talk about this, this stuff that Tully the Tank said about a 10.0 expansion, and then speculate on it. But now we're going to watch where this came from. Did I read Kotick stuff about compensation? Yes, I did. I did read it. Oh, wait, no, I don't think I did read it. Hold on. Yeah, wait. What is this? Oh, you know, I totally missed the rest. Right. Okay, fuck. Let me find this. Where's that press release? No, I lost it. Yeah, I never even finished reading it. You incompetent fool. All right, we're back. Okay. Yeah. What about... Yeah, I didn't see anything about his pay. Pay equity. Okay, whatever. I guess we're not done yet. Lastly, I want to ensure that every available resource is being used in the service of becoming the industry leader in workplace excellence. Accordingly, I have asked our board of directors to reduce my total compensation until the board has determined that we have achieved the transformational gender-related goals to other communities described above. Big bold, specifically, I have asked the board to reduce my pay to the lowest amount California law will allow for people earning a salary, which this year is $62,500. To be clear, this is a reduction of my overall compensation, not just my salary. I am asking not to receive any bonuses or be granted any equity during this time. But it's being banked. Those are things that we can learn easily, because they have to disclose those sorts of things if they are going to just bank his bonuses. Now, I will read the rest. Don't worry. There's still a lot of shit. Actually, no, I'll read the rest. There's a tendency when companies face challenging moments to lose sight of what makes them special, what makes them great. You are a truly special group of people who, through passion, conviction, drive, and determination, keep accomplishing extraordinary things. While the critical work ahead won't be easy, I'm confident that our collective commitment to workplace excellence will be achieved. I truly wish not a single employee had an experience at work that resulted in hurt, humiliation, or worse. And to those who were affected, I sincerely apologize. You have my commitment that we will do everything possible to honor our values and create the workplace every member of this team deserves. I'm grateful for how much people care about this company, and I appreciate that many past and present employees have reached out with their thoughts, concerns, complaints, and suggestions. Your experiences, so courageously shared, serve as a reason and reminder for why it is so important us to do better, and we will. Legalese, whatever. So the pay. Now, I've predicted that Kotick would retire in the next 5 or 10 years. It's been almost 5 years since I made that initial statement. Dude's rich, man. I don't know if he's a billionaire yet. I think he is a billionaire. Whatever. Dude's rich. So not getting paid for a little while, not a big deal. But still, not being paid for a little while is kind of a big deal. Whether that money translates into something that will be given to employees, probably not. I don't see that happening. In fact, that would be kind of a fuck up. Like what if Kotick were to say, I'm gonna take my compensation and then pay every employee across the board. That probably wouldn't amount to very much money, and it would be taxed. And people would complain about it anyway. I imagine that some people will complain about it anyway. They'd be like, fucking, I left like 2 weeks before he said this and they're getting paid and I'm not. This is bullshit, But if Kotick were to say every employee in the past couple of years, they're gonna get some of this compensation money, then that's gonna water it down even more. People are gonna get less money, and it's gonna be taxed. And the people that are past that cutoff, they're gonna say the same shit anyway. So yeah, it's fine by me. I mean, bitch is rich anyway. He ain't gonna get hurt by this. But I guess like I said earlier, I guess it still means something. I'm sure that some people out there, they're like, oh, so he's not getting paid, but he's still rich as hell. I mean, what do you want instead? Do you want him to pay? Do you want him to cut half of his wealth or something like that? I don't think that wouldn't do anything. That would just be lip service. It's like, all right, shut up. Take this money and shut the fuck up. That's what that would be, in my opinion. This is at least a little fig leaf to demonstrate some responsibility over what's happening. So, hi, Sir Strato, first time chatter. Oh, thank you, Ezreal, by the way. Now that's a spanking, says Betty. I think you got most of it. The bottom is just legalese. I think most staff would have a heart attack if that happened. Is minimum yearly earning in California 62.5K? No, it is for salaried employees. I forgot how this works. It's salaried employees that perform certain roles. You get a minimum pay. Something like that. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure about that. I mean, whatever the case, 62 grand ain't shit compared to what he was taking home anyway. It was really the most that he could legally do at this point. It doesn't mean the board won't give him an unreasonable bonus at some point in the future, but it is a step. Yeah, if I'm sure people are like, oh, fire Kotick because he's responsible and blah, blah, blah. Clearly the board doesn't feel that he was responsible enough, right? Don't yell at him. He could walk out, if he felt like he was that responsible. Clearly he's not interested in doing that, but he is under the thrall of his board, maybe he can like muscle him like just a tiny, just a little bit. But ultimately, if the board wanted him out, then he'd be out. That's it. We've seen it in other tech companies where they've had people eject CEOs. Who was that one guy? I talked about this a couple months ago, where there was a dude that came out in support of the Texas law. I think that's what it was. Came out in support of the Texas law that effectively banned abortion. And his comments were based on the Supreme Court decision to not review the case and otherwise let that law stand. Before it didn't, but details. At the time, the dude came out to say, "Hey, I'm outing myself as a conservative gaming person." And then his board kicked him out. That's it. You're done, buddy. We replaced you over the weekend. Not have real good tweeting what you did, dumbass. But yeah, in this example, the board opted to not do that. Now, there could have been fierce politics, behind the scenes. Maybe he was at the edge of being fired or being kicked out. But somehow, some way, he was like, no, screw that. Let's you guys want my compensation? And then the board is like, oh, that sounds pretty good, man. We can give ourselves a bonus from this. Okay, yeah, you can stay. You can stay, Kotick, for now. We don't know what happened. This tells me nothing. So, let's see. And to be fair, his quitting right now wouldn't be great for the company. Activision Blizzard would take a huge stock hit and lose capital. It would lose to effect. Yeah, like if he left, he would lose money because a lot of his compensation comes in the form of stock. So, whatever helps. He'll. Taking those body blows to the stock price, it's worth it in the long run. People will take a look and let's see what is the stock price right now. So right now, yeah, it's like. Okay, so let's see. So when the news initially went out, it went down by like nothing. See, these damn graphs are so fucking deceptive, dude. It's like, wow, it went from $78.5, but man, look at that huge dip. It went down by like a little under $2. And then like a few hours later, then it like, went back to. It went higher than it was at the start of trade, and then now it's kind of like tapering down again. I hate stocks. Stocks are dumb.